What if the most expensive team ever assembled in baseball history is already starting to crack from the inside? Because right now, sources close to the Los Angeles Dodgers organization are saying something that would have seemed absolutely impossible just 12 months ago. Shohei Ohtani, the $700 million man, the face of the franchise, the player the Dodgers built their entire future around, is reportedly unhappy. And not just quietly unhappy. We're talking about a level of frustration that has people inside the clubhouse genuinely concerned about what happens next. And here's where it gets even bigger. He's not alone. Two of his closest teammates are said to be right there with him, sharing the same frustration, asking the same questions, and according to multiple sources, having private conversations about what their futures in Los Angeles actually look like. This is not a rumor. This is not clickbait. This is the story that the entire MLB world is waking up to right now. And if you're a Dodgers fan, you need to hear every single word of what we're about to tell you. To understand why Ohtani is reportedly at a breaking point, you have to go back and understand what he was promised when he signed that historic $700 million contract in December of 2023. Ohtani didn't come to Los Angeles just for the money. He came for a specific vision. A vision of a championship-caliber roster built around him, an organization that would protect his legacy, support his two-way career, and create an environment where he could perform at the highest level possible for the next decade. That was the promise. That was the deal. And for the first season, things looked exactly like that. The Dodgers won the World Series. Ohtani was electric. Everything seemed perfectly aligned. The narrative was clean, the roster was elite, and the Dodgers looked like a dynasty in the making. But something shifted in the offseason. Sources say Ohtani has been carefully watching how the organization has handled several key decisions, and what he has seen has left him deeply unsettled. The concerns are not about money. They are not about playing time. They run much deeper than that. At the center of this tension is the ongoing lineup restructuring debate that has consumed the Dodgers spring camp. As reported earlier this week, manager Dave Roberts has been internally floating the idea of moving Ohtani from the leadoff position down to the number 2 spot, with Kyle Tucker taking over the top of the order. On the surface, this might seem like a minor adjustment, a spring training experiment, nothing more. But to Ohtani, it is anything but minor. Sources say Ohtani views the leadoff position as deeply connected to his identity as a player and to his ability to control the rhythm of the game from the very first pitch. He has spoken about this privately with teammates, and the conversations have been direct, blunt even. One source familiar with the situation said, "Shohei doesn't complain about small things. When he speaks up, it means something is genuinely bothering him at a deep level. And right now, something is genuinely bothering him." Ohtani reportedly expressed his frustration clearly. When you lead off, you dictate the entire tone of the game. You step in before anyone else. If you hit a double, a triple, or you put the ball over the fence in the first at-bat, you've already changed the psychology of the opposing pitcher before the lineup even turns over. That kind of power, that kind of control is not something you give up lightly. For a competitor at Ohtani's level, this is not ego. This is strategy. This is how elite players think about their role in the game. But here is where things become more complicated. Ohtani's frustration doesn't exist in isolation. It is part of a larger pattern of tension that has been quietly building inside the Dodgers clubhouse throughout spring training. And two of his teammates are reportedly caught in the same storm. Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman, the two other pillars of the Dodgers' offensive core, are said to be equally unsettled by the direction the organization appears to be heading. Betts, who has been one of the most consistent and impactful players on this roster since arriving in Los Angeles, is reportedly concerned about the disruption to the offensive rhythm that the three of them have spent multiple seasons building together. He has privately told teammates that changing the top of the lineup is not just a tactical adjustment. It's a psychological one. And the psychology of how a lineup functions in October is built in February and March, not decided at the last minute in the playoffs. Freeman, meanwhile, is dealing with a different but equally significant source of frustration. Sources say Freeman has been troubled by some of the organizational communication he has received this offseason, specifically around the team's long-term plans and how his role fits into that picture going forward. Freeman is not a player who demands the spotlight. He is quiet, professional, and deeply respected in every clubhouse he has ever been a part of. When a player like Freeman starts to feel disconnected from an organization's vision, that is a serious warning sign that cannot be ignored. An MLB insider with direct knowledge of the situation put it plainly. You don't have three players of this caliber expressing discomfort at the same time and chalk it up to coincidence. There is something happening inside that organization right now that goes beyond spring training lineup decisions. Now let's be clear about what walk away actually means in this context. Ohtani is under contract. The $700 million deal isn't going anywhere. Nobody is suggesting he is going to physically leave the team tomorrow morning. But in the world of professional sports, when a player of Ohtani's stature reaches a level of dissatisfaction where he begins to mentally check out, where he begins to question whether the organization's vision still aligns with his own, the consequences can be just as damaging as a formal trade request. History is full of examples. We have seen superstars stay on their teams physically while quietly withdrawing emotionally
I'm
and
really
psychologically.
disappointed in our performance today.
Seen it
We had
affect
chances
their
but couldn't deliver.
We have
It
seen
hurts
it
to let
affect
everyone
the
down.
locker room. And we have seen it force organizations into difficult decisions they were not prepared to make. The Dodgers cannot afford to let that happen with Ohtani. One executive from a rival organization, speaking anonymously, said, "If Shohei Ohtani ever formally signals that he wants out of Los Angeles when his contract situation allows, every single team in this league will be on the phone immediately. You don't let a player like that slip through your fingers without a fight. That day may still be a long way off. But the fact that the conversation is even being had in baseball circles right now tells you everything you need to know about how serious this situation has become." So what does Dave Roberts do? That is the question that is consuming the Dodgers front office right now. Roberts is an experienced manager. He has been through championship runs, roster crises, and high-pressure moments that would break most people in his position. He knows how to navigate a clubhouse. But this situation is different, because this isn't a struggling player who needs motivation. This isn't a veteran on the decline who needs to accept a reduced role. This is Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman, three of the most accomplished players in the modern era, all expressing discomfort at the same time, during the same spring training, over decisions that are still being debated internally. Roberts has publicly maintained that the lineup changes are simply experiments. He said during a recent media availability, "Nothing is set in stone. Spring training is the time to test ideas and find what works best for this group going into the season." But sources say his private conversations with the coaching staff tell a slightly different story. He understands the stakes. He understands that getting this wrong, even slightly wrong, could send ripple effects through a roster that is supposed to be competing for another championship in October. One coaching staff member said, "Dave knows that you can draw up the perfect tactical lineup on a whiteboard, but if the players in that lineup don't believe in it, if they're not locked in mentally, the tactics don't matter." There is also a bigger philosophical tension at the heart of this entire situation, and it is one that the Dodgers are going to have to resolve sooner rather than later. On one side, you have the analytical and tactical argument. Lineups should be constructed based on data, on matchup advantages, on maximizing run production across 162 games. By that logic, Tucker's on-base ability and early count discipline at the top of the order makes perfect sense on paper. The numbers support it. On the other side, you have the human element, the psychology of a team, the identity of a winning clubhouse, the rhythm that championship players develop over years of playing alongside each other and trusting the structure around them. You cannot measure that in a spreadsheet. But every player who has ever been part of a championship run will tell you it is absolutely real. The Dodgers built something special with Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman at the core of their offense. They won a World Series with it. They made the entire league fear it. And now, before a single meaningful game has been played in 2026, they are standing at a crossroads. Do they chase tactical innovation and risk fracturing the identity that
I'm really
made them
disappointed in
champions?
our performance
Or
today.
do they trust
We had
the
chances
proven
but couldn't
cohesion of a
deliver.
core
It
that
hurts
has
to let
already
everyone
delivered
down.
the ultimate prize? The answer to that question will define the Dodgers' entire 2026 season. Because right now, the most talented roster in baseball is sitting at a tension point. Ohtani is frustrated. Betts is concerned. Freeman is unsettled. And the rest of the league is watching very, very closely. The Dodgers have all the pieces to win it all again. They have the pitching. They have the depth. They have the firepower. But championships are not won on paper. They are won in the moments when a team is completely locked in, completely unified, and completely trusting of the structure around them. Whether that unity survives this spring training storm is the question that will haunt the Dodgers until October. And one thing is absolutely certain. Whatever decision Dave Roberts and the front office make in the coming weeks, Shohei Ohtani is paying very close attention. The entire baseball world should be too.